What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 93 of the Gaming Duo podcast. I'm Kelvin, the Kevlar Vest, your host for this week, and I'm joined by co-host Rob, the Robot. If you're new to the show, welcome. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. We are the podcast that discusses the latest gaming news each and every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, but we kind of go on sometimes on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, depending on what we're doing live on YouTube slash kind of funny slash the Gaming Duo podcast.
I know what podcast you've been listening to.
I just watched them. Yeah, it was great.
Also, congrats to them because they just got that awesome new studio. So
yeah, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
kudos
they
to
did
them.
good.
Kudos to them. They did a great job. Rob, how you been?
I'm doing good, man. It's getting ready for the moving next week, so it's gonna be kind of crazy. And yeah, just getting all that together. And
Wait,
I'll
it's
be gone
next week? You're moving next week?
Next Friday, yeah.
Next Friday. Wow. Holy crap.
Yeah, a week from Friday, I will be moving into the new house. So
Congrats. How's
Yeah.
that? How's that going?
I mean, so far we got everything like kind of set up. I just kind of have to just like rip it off like Ben and just get everything out.
Just do
what
it,
I mean?
you know,
Just
just
do
do
it.
it.
Yeah, I just can't. It's almost like I'm a little anxious because I want it. I just want to get it over with, kind of.
Right.
Whereas I'm just kind of like sitting here waiting for it to happen, and I'm just like, let's do it.
I hear you.
But process of buying a house is an extreme pain in the ass. So
Yes. It is tough. But you know what? You're making moves. I'm happy for you. It's going to be tough moving everything you have now to like your new existing room that's going to happen. So that's going to be a little tough, but it is what it is.
no, it'll be good. It'll be this.
Think it'll be fun to like kind of
Yeah, it'll be fun. At first, it'll be a little jank, obviously. Like you'll see
Sure.
the background of it like slowly changing again. But I actually have to start packing up everything pretty soon. So that's gonna be all gone in the back behind me. What about you? Anything new with you?
Nope. Just playing some games. Still
Playing games? You crazy?
Yeah, man. Yeah, playing some games still on paternity leave, so just kind of staying at home with the baby and the kids and the wife. Yeah, man, everything's good. What have you been playing though?
So still Shadow Hearts 2 Covenant
Okay.
on my trusty Steam Deck. I finally got to disc 2. Remember how that game had 2 discs?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So what's really strange is obviously the way you download. I can't really explain how you download the files because that's a little, I'm doing the whole emulation thing.
Test.
But the way you download, it's like you can only download the disc 1 and you download disc 2. It's not just one file.
Oh.
Yeah, it's weird. So like I'm literally up to the part where the game asks me, it's like save your game. Because it actually has its own built-in memory card too, which is really cool. So it basically mimics a memory card as well.
Interesting. Okay.
And then it says put in disc 2. But I'm like, I don't have disc 2. It's not.
There's no disc 2.
Yeah. So it's funny seeing the difference in technology now that we have.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. Is that all you've been playing? Just that?
that's mostly it. We played a little bit of Warzone. We got a W the other night.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Trying to
get a W. That was a fantastic game. We should have definitely recorded that, but I think it was a very like bringing us back to the roots, right? Going back to what we used to play and just getting us back to square one, right?
Right, exactly. And there's a ton of new games coming out at the end of this month. Like Bayonetta is one that I'm excited for, but we'll talk more about Bayonetta later, right?
Yes,
Because
for
that's
sure.
part of our news.
For sure. Real quick before we move on, I've been playing a Plague Tales Requiem, which came out today, and I have good. So starting off the game, gorgeous, beautiful game. Definitely a leap from the first game, from Innocence. I think a lot of it, and I dabbled probably maybe close to 3 hours right at this point, right? So I'm still fairly early on in the game, but from what I've seen, it's relatively the same. There's not much that's changed besides graphics. Everything just kind of feels right at home, which isn't a bad thing per se.
Are you playing on Game Pass, like the
Playing on
xCloud?
Steam Deck, yeah, on xCloud. So that tells you in itself, it still looks gorgeous, even me playing it through the cloud.
Okay.
And obviously the controls are fine. It just feels much of like what I just played. And again, I just finished the game like a couple weeks ago, the first one. So now I'm going into this one. It just feels like I'm going right back.
It's a continuation of it, basically.
Yeah. Not a bad thing, but it just feels like the same so far. Like I know exactly what to do. We're kind of doing a lot of the hide and seek kind of gameplay, like a lot of stealth gameplay things. I think one of the things that really bothers me a little bit with this game is the fact that it's a little harsh when it comes to stealth in this game. Like you don't. So Amicia, she isn't a fighter, right? She's very much of like, she's protecting her brother.
Amicia is the main character, right?
Yes, yep. And she is not much of a fighter, so she uses these like slingshots for rocks, right? She has like a rock and then she has a slingshot. That's how she kind of like kills or attacks enemies. But she doesn't like, she's not a like one-to-one fighter. So if they catch you, if they see you, you're pretty much dead. There's not much you can do.
It's more of a sneaking game than anything.
But don't get me wrong. There is times where you can counter enemies and you can like kill them, or you can like kind of, get them, just like give you some time to like run away or something like that.
But right.
There's not much leeway for you to actually like fight and like really empty out a whole room. Like it's pretty much like if you get caught, you either get one hit and you're done, or you're just done in general. So it is kind of unforgiving in that sense, but the stealth is fun. It is nice, but I just feel like it gets really the samey. It's really like kind of doing the same thing over and over again, and that just kind of ruins the experience a little bit.
Okay, so do you recommend this game? Yes or no?
Yes, 100%. Again, all right, that's just my one drawback of the game, because everything else I think is really good. Again, continuing from the first game, I love the first game. It was great. The characters were great. The storyline is phenomenal. Some of the voice acting is a little off, and it still continues on from this one. But overall, the gameplay is pretty fun, and I definitely recommend this game if you haven't played it yet.
Yeah, we got it. The first one, though. Yeah, we have it up on screen right now. And is the gameplay linear? Is it a linear game, or is it kind of like open world?
It's linear. It's your typical linear open world game now. It's like, it's not open world in a sense, but like you have open areas. So like this part
like right
here, there's open areas where you can kind of like, traverse through a little bit, kind of like move around. But for the most part, you're just going through a straight path.
Very cool. And there's also another game coming out to Game Pass this weekend, I think it is, and Persona 5 Royal is coming out for Game Pass, so I'm pretty excited for that.
Yes.
Are you going to play?
On Game Pass? Again, I don't know, man. I feel like
on the go, it's going to be on the cloud, so you're going to be able to play Persona 5 Royal. But again, you're not a guy that goes back and plays old games that you've already beaten.
See, but Persona is different. Like, I don't mind playing the game. It's just I know how daunting that task is. I know how long that is going to take for me to finish it, from like, especially Persona 5 Royal is a much longer game. It has more DLC in it. It has a DLC in it. So it's like, do I really want to spend 100+ hours in the game where I can be either playing something else, or I can, like, I know kind of like the story. Like, I know it's worth it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not trying to shit on Persona. Obviously, Persona is like one of my favorite games, but I'm just, am I there in my mindset, in my mind space? Am I there right now?
Yeah, you are. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it. Just pick it up and do it. Yeah, come on.
Well, let's get into the news real quick here.
Let's do it.
So G4TV is being shut down after not even a year, actually. It's been, I think, a year. Next week would have been the full year. So this, after last month's layoffs, G4TV has said its goodbyes, announcing that they will be shutting down the network completely. Employees were not even given a proper notice. Some even given notice from Twitter, on the Twitter account Warrior64, which, to me, if you're laying me off and I find out via Twitter from a post, that's insane. That's bonkers.
They don't necessarily. Sometimes they don't do it the way they should do it. You know what I mean? So I'll put the tweet up over here.
Gerard the Completionist, he was one of the employees at G4TV. He responded to Warrior64's post saying that G4 has shut down, saying, "Hey, this tweet is how I found out how I lost my job." How neat. Incredible. That's crazy to me. The CEO and chairman, Dave Scott, explained in a memo afterwards, stating the viewership is low and the network has not received or achieved substantial financial results. End quote. Rob, G4 is no more. Is this surprising to you?
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't really know it existed. Like, I knew it existed, but like, it wasn't really a thing.
Right.
So for me, this isn't really a shock, because it's not like this. Everyone was watching. Everyone's like, "Yo, G4TV is like the place you got to go to watch all your gameplay." It's on Twitter, or it's on Twitch and stuff like that, or it's not like the latest stream or anything. Like, it was just kind of in the background, and I don't know if anyone really watched it. So I'm not surprised. Oh, wait, like what is your thoughts as far as it's shutting down, and
As
this is the last time we're probably ever going to see any form of G4 TV.
This is it. This is
Yeah,
they tried it once to kind of bring back that network, and it's not going to work out. So to me, first off, shitty for everyone working there, right? Sorry for everyone that's going through that right now.
I think Microsoft did the same thing today too. I think they laid
yeah.
off like 1,000 employees or something like that. Just like Shadow just did it. So.
Hopefully they had a notice before a memo before they found out. You know, but yeah, when companies do this stuff, I think it's very shitty that they don't really properly tell this to their employees, to their staff, right? They kind of just tell them the day of, or sometimes they just find out like Gerard, the completionist right now, saying that he found it out via tweet. Like that to me is shitty business. That to me means that you don't care about your employees. That to me just sounds like you're not really like this one. That to me also sounds like it was like kind of out of the blue, but I feel like it shouldn't have been based off of what we've seen with G4 TV happening in the past couple year. You know?
Right.
G4 started off kind of rough, you know, like even when they first started out, I remember back in January, there were a lot of things going on in the news section, right? Talking about one of the employees at G4, you know, like throwing out, you know, saying like, I guess, pointing out people for being sexist and all that stuff. And it caused a lot of headlines, which caused a lot of people to leave you know, some of the people to unsubscribe to G4. And so it started pretty bad from the beginning, but I think to me what caused G4 to just kind of end its demise is basically it didn't capture anyone's attention in a sense of like when we watched G4 back when we were growing up, like they had like quality stuff, and not to say they didn't have quality stuff now, but it just didn't hit the same way, you know, like they had awesome talent right now. Currently they have awesome talent in there, but it just the quality wasn't there in my opinion, you know.
Yeah, like you're watching this video right now, and I have no idea that it's G4 TV, right? I don't know what this is. If anything, it lacked the soul of
the branding.
Yeah, exactly. It literally lacked the branding. It lacked the soul. The people too made it, right? Like that cast, that crew they had at Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Olivia Munn,
like all the original cast. I think if they were going to bring it back, they needed to bring back those people in some form, just to kind of like at least kick it off, like kind of like passing the torch kind of thing. That would have been kind of cool to at least get some familiarity with, you know.
Well, if I understand correctly, Adam Sessler was there. He came back.
Right. You are right on that. But again, it was just only one piece, and it wasn't the same, right? You could tell he just wasn't the same, and yeah, I mean, the writing was kind of on the wall with this one, right? There was no marketing. You had no idea that it was a thing. None.
And that's the problem, right? I think they did good on trying to stay in the moment with like how we consume media now, how we consume our gaming media now, right? Because that's the problem. Before, if you think about it, G4 back in the day, it was the only way you could kind of consume some type of gaming media at the time, before the internet, in a sense,
you had to
right?
get cable, subscription, whatever, and then that's how you watch it. It was kind of like ESPN before gaming. And
it was the first time where you actually thought of this as, oh wait, I can actually do this as like a job. You know, like I can, like, oh, like that's something that I can do.
Right.
Like a lot of, so that kind of branched out things to make people start YouTube channels about games and start like their own projects and their own type of like companies as far as games and reviewing and all that stuff. So I think that was what really sparked G4 to kind of really be big. But then now when it came back, there's so many avenues. There's so many ways to consume anything gaming media related that it kind of fell in the back burner. You know, they had
it's like a dinosaur at this point. It's basically a dinosaur compared to what we have now, like the way we consume. You know what I mean? So,
right. And then a lot of their stuff, a lot of their projects on G4 at the moment, it just didn't really resonate with a lot of the people. You know, and you know that's probably what happened. That's what caused them to shut down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they at least tried. I think that's good that they tried it out. They wanted to see if it would work. Obviously, it wasn't implemented the way they wanted.
Did they try hard enough? I feel like 2 years would have been good. Like a year, like not even a year in, and you're like, all right, let's cut this. You know. I
mean, that's just the way it works now, right? Like that's just how companies work. It's like if they don't see immediate result or immediate views, they're just it's a money thing, right? Like they don't want to pour money into it if it's not getting the results immediately, especially if they're decided to make a decision. It's not uncommon nowadays. In a day where like instant gratification is a thing.
Yeah,
it doesn't surprise me. So
yeah, I mean, it sucks, man, because G4 could have been something good. G4, if they would have stuck with their guns, I feel like they could have maybe branched out a little bit and tried different things. Maybe they could have gotten the views and the what they wanted to see. But I feel like going out a year a year in, I feel like that's just giving up way too quickly.
Like I said, it's the companies that really want to see those results, and it sucks that that's just the way it is. But that's the world we live in, unfortunately. And again, it sucks for people that lost their jobs. Like just finding out like that, like that's the worst part. But it happens. Like this is just the world we live in now, and we have to accept it. And if something does come back, we better hope that they do it well the first time, or else it's not. Actually, depends on like IPs too, I guess. Like there's like all these like games that try to come back out and then they just fail again. Right. And same thing with movies. There's movies that try to come back out and they're just not great. But I think G4 TV, it dying, brought us what we have today, the media that we consume today. So it's like the granddaddy of like everything, right? Yeah. So its sacrifice is not in vain. We have
it's so second many time though. The second sacrifice?
Second sacrifice was kind of like not needed. Like we didn't need to sacrifice you again. But maybe, like I said, maybe if it was in a different hands or a different direction, it could have worked. But I also think it just wasn't, like I said, wasn't advertised correctly. They should have made it into like a network. But it's hard because there's so many games. There's so much media to consume, especially in a world of streamers now where like, yeah. I want to watch a streamer play this exact game. Right. I can look that up at any time to see that thing happen and get information about the game, their opinion on the game. Whereas if I'm watching something like G4 TV, I can't get that instantly. I have to kind of sift through. It's almost like a radio, right? It's like you gotta wait till your song comes on to get the thing you want for the most part. You can't just pick it. So I kind of feel like that's why G4 TV kind of failed. In a way as well, just because of just the age we are in.
They had something going for them. I feel like they were doing well when it comes to bringing in content creators and bringing in people that are kind of known to the public already, right? With social media being a thing and content creators being a thing. They did a good job of like bringing in a newer cast, and I think that was needed. You didn't want to bring just the complete old cast, right? You didn't want to just have Adam Sessler. You didn't want to just have Olivia Munn, like just kind of keep them the same. You wanted like a new face, And I think they did a good job with that. But again, I think the content, although I thought it was pretty good, I didn't think it was bad. I just think, like you said, it didn't really advertise much, and I think their hands were there were too many hands in the pot when it comes to like really trying to explode, really trying to like bring out G4 as much as they could, because they were trying to do, again, the TV thing, they were trying to do the social media thing, they were trying to do online things. Like I feel like they were just doing way too much, and it just didn't really end up going anywhere.
You got to remember too, and this is kind of like my last point about it, is with when G4 TV came out, we were younger, we were kids, teenagers, millennials, right? Like we were of that age where like we were still watching TV.
Right
now they come back out, we're older, we're not just sitting around playing games anymore for the most part. Like at this point, it's now just a hobby where all of us are working, right? We all have jobs, we all have families, we all whatever, doing these things. So they kind of missed the mark when it came to who they were advertising to, where they thought like, oh wait, the people that actually watched our show and know our show are actually too busy right now because they have like life shit to deal with for the most part. Whereas they really should have heavily marketed towards the younger generation, being like, hey, look watch this show, right? Because we know GT4 TV because that's the gaming, that's how you get your gaming stuff. Like that's just where it is. But the new generation, they're like, what the fuck is G4 TV? I don't care about G4 TV. I don't know what that is. And those are the big gamers right now. Those are the guys that are always playing games. So
I kind of disagree in a sense, where I think they were trying to bring in the younger crowd. I think that's what they were intending to do. Again, like I said before, just trying to bring in content creators to kind of host G4, right? People that are new to the iFigures, right? iFigures in the gaming industry, like they brought those people in to kind of host and kind of like, you know, show their platform. Again, like you said, though, I just feel like they did a terrible job of actually promoting it. And that was the problem, in my opinion. But
yeah,
it is what it is. Unfortunately, hopefully those people that did lose their jobs get right back up and find something better and, you know, move on.
That's it. You'll find a job. I'm believing you guys. It's a big world out there. There's tons of jobs out there. Like, I'm not worried about them. Everyone there was talented, so
right.
I'm not worried about you.
For sure. News number 2 here, Bayonetta voice actor debacle. So, a lot to digest here. There was a lot going on. If you haven't heard about this Bayonetta news here, I'm going to try to sum it up as much as I can here. So, basically, last Saturday, the former Bayonetta voice actor, which was Helena Taylor, she voiced Bayonetta for 1 and 2. She went into this series of tweets on social media explaining why she didn't reprise her role on Bayonetta 3. And the reason being was because it ultimately just came to the fact that they were offering her $4,000 to reprise her role in Bayonetta 3. That obviously
that's
means
not a lot.
That's chump change for especially being a like figure in the actual like game, right? Like you are the main person in the game, the main protagonist.
You're the star of the show.
Star of the show, and you're getting paid $4,000 to do this. Again, we don't know much of the behind the scenes things, but this is based off of what she said. So obviously she was not happy about it. She claimed that instead of purchasing the game, to please donate that money that you would spend on the game to charity. So she she's taking a stand on this. She doesn't want you to buy the game because of the situation. She wants you to take it somewhere else, kind of put their money where their mouth is, basically. And the series director claimed that the reason for her not to return was due to the overlapping circumstances. So she flat out said that was a lie. That was not true. She had all the time in the world. So that was something that was kind of like weird to actually see because, she was flat out saying that is not true. Hideki Kamiya posted a series of cryptic tweets alluding to the situation, but did not have a clear answer on what exactly happened. Just an attitude of untruth. Then, it keeps going. So then we finally get a response from Jennifer Hale, which is the current voice actor of Bayonetta. And she basically said a very nice tweet here. I'm going to read it real quick. With regards to Bayonetta 3, as a longtime member of voice acting community, I support every actor's rights to be paid well and have advocated consistently for this for years. Anyone who knows me or has followed my career will know that I have great respect for my peers and what I am an advocate for all members of the community. She's obviously under NDA, so she can't really say too much. I sincerely ask that everyone keep in mind that in this game has been created by an entire team of hardworking, dedicated people, and I hope everyone will keep an open mind about what they've created. So, she went through that. That was great that she actually posted that. And then there's an update here. According to Bloomberg, Platinum Games offered for $3,000 to $4,000 per session for 5 sessions. Taylor wanted a 6-figure salary and residuals. Also, Platinum Games declined the offer. So, a lot to digest there. So basically, this happened Saturday. Helena was not happy. She wanted more money. They didn't want to do that. They claimed that she didn't have the time to reprise her role. She said that was false. What do you think about all this, Rob? Like, what's going on in your head right now?
All right. So first off, fuck all this shit that's happening right now because it is like she said all this bullshit right now, and I hate that shit. Yeah. Right. So at first I see her tweets and I'm like, oh my god, like that's awful that you weren't getting paid that much, right? Like that sucks. Like this is bullshit. I'm conflicted of buying this game right now. And then homeboy director is just trying to figure out, like, he's just saying like, oh, it's not, he doesn't say it's not the truth. He's just being cryptic about what he's saying, which he got his Twitter account suspended and then he removed the Twitter account, but then it got reinstated. It was weird.
Right.
And then Jennifer Hale comes out and says, I support voice actors. I can't say shit but like I support you and I think you should get paid what you should get paid. Basically, taking her side, but also being like, this is my job too. I'm not trying to fuck this up, right?
Right.
And then this report from Bloomberg is like, actually, Platinum Games was like, we'll give you 4Gs each session you come in with a minimum of 5, so it adds up to about 15K, right? And she was like, no, I'm not doing that. I want six figure salary and residuals of the game. And they were like, nah. So I am very conflicted right now. Who is right? Who is wrong?
Here's the thing. Voice actors in general are underpaid. That's just flat out the basis of everything. Voice actors in the gaming industry do not have they don't have the voice, I guess you want to say, as many people know that they know that they have a very low barger when it comes to like, all right, when they go into this gaming industry, they know that they're not going to be being paid that much or as much as they should be getting paid for their talents, right? And so going off of the whole Bayonetta 3 situation and going off of what Helena's saying, it sounded like, okay, yeah, I understand your point, because again, $4,000 doesn't, like, that's nothing, right? Especially
that's not covering shit.
Reprising
Yeah, exactly.
your role.
Right.
Basically, from what I understand, she had to what is it? She had to like kind of re-enlist into her role, because sometimes, like, you know, voice actors' voices change sometimes, so they have to make sure that you are fit for the role again. And so she passed with flying colors, obviously, but with that, giving her $4,000, I just felt like that's trash. But now this came out with Bloomberg, and I'm just like, all right, so which is it? Like, what's going on here? I think her messages, her tweets were fine in the first half, you know, like the first tweet would have been fine, but then she kind of went on a tangent.
She kept going. The
third and fourth one, I was like, okay, now I feel like you're trying to throw shots at Jennifer, kind of like calling her out, basically saying like, you are not Bayonetta, I am, type of thing. And I'm just like, that didn't need to be said. Like, you could have just left it at, you know, you this is how you feel, this is how you strongly feel about the situation, and, you know, this is my stance on this, you know.
Do we have a disgruntled former employee? Is this what this is? Or did she really not get... I think maybe she didn't get what she deserved. How much was she making before? I guess is what we need to know. How much was she making before in the previous roles? Did she discuss that? You know what I mean? I don't think she said anything about how much she was making before. She didn't complain about it before when she was doing Bayonetta 1 and 2. Right? Maybe it's something that she sees a series being this bigger thing now, because Bayonetta is kind of a big deal now. Again, and we have this tweet here from the gamer guy saying, unless there's publicly available proof, it's not the full story, is it? One side is saying one thing and the other is saying another. That's basically nothing, which is true. If he won, he said, yep. And then Jason Strider says, as I said in the story and on Twitter, I have seen written evidence of Helena Taylor being offered at least $15,000 for her work on the game. But he said he's seen it.
On the game, as far as Bayonetta 3, or not her previous, and like her previous role with Bayonetta?
On the game, on Bayonetta 3.
Bayonetta 3.
Bayonetta 3, yes. So
what is happening? Is she just trying to... I don't know.
I can't say anything yet. We don't have the facts, but all I know is that we have nothing, because Platinum Games hasn't actually came out and said something. It was, again, report from Bloomberg, not Platinum Games, like coming out with a tweet, because a tweet is usually like the end all be all kind of thing. It's just like, here is what I'm saying. They have, and it's a very Nintendo thing to do. They're just not going to respond. Like, oh my god, guys,
Nintendo's definitely not. Platinum possibly, but Nintendo no. Here's the thing. This has been, if you take this whole Bayonetta situation to the side, again, voice actors have been severely underpaid for quite some time. Now, what this does to the whole situation, I feel like, whether it's true or not, right? I think it does open up an avenue of like, okay, this is big. This is an issue. We need to do something about it, right? Like, you have people commenting on Helena saying, like, you know, I mean, same situation with David Hayter, right? David Hayter responded to her, like, supporting her, and kind of like same situation on his end with the whole Metal Gear Solid thing, right? Where he wasn't even asked to reprise his role as Snake.
They just want to go to a different direction.
Keith Sullivan, and they want a different direction. So he was just kind of like left in the dark in that sense, right?
But the problem is, like, he was Snake. You know what I mean? Like, he was Snake at that point as well. So, and if she feels the same way, she was Bayonetta. And that's kind of just like ripped apart from you. Like, you're not this character anymore. You know what I mean?
I get that. 100% get that. But going off of what we said before, her third and fourth tweet, I just feel like that was just not necessary. Kind of, in my opinion, throwing shots at Jennifer Hale when what if Jennifer Hale had no idea this was happening? She was just like, hey, this is a role that they were giving to me. I took it. And Jennifer Hale, from my understanding, is she's a much more known actor.
Yeah, 100%.
So theoretically, you think she'd be getting paid more, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how that. I don't know. I don't know that situation. What I do know is because of this whole thing, the whole stirring of the pot, it makes the gaming industry aware of what's happening, and hopefully something like this doesn't happen again. If it did actually happen the way that Helena said it, and I think this is probably the start of hopefully getting voice actors to where they should be as far as like their talents go, right? Like if you are a well-known
100%.
voice actor and you are doing a role and you're reprising your role in a game, you should be getting paid this amount of money for this job, and it should be like that. But I don't know the situation. We don't know the situation, like you said. It's just kind of like he said, she said.
I agree, 100%, because it does paint a light or shed a light on voice actors now, because they should be paid what they like. Rightfully, they should be paid.
Sure.
Not a rate that's not, because their talent is different. Their talent,
especially
is,
reprising, like you're going into your role like the third time. Like this is like your third time going into this role. It's not like you're like the main character in this game. You know what I mean? Like you should be getting paid a decent amount.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I actually, before we go further with this, I kind of want to pull up a little video here. It is of the first voice versus the new voice. So I want to hear if there's a big difference in the voice, because with Snake there was a huge difference, right? But is this one? So we're gonna play the video right here. Yeah, we got it. Hold on, it's coming. It's coming, guys. For our audio listeners, I'm gonna try and put it on the audio so you guys can listen too, because I really want you to hear it. Okay, here we go. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Bad boy.
New voice.
Bad boy.
Oh.
But I'm ready to give you everything you want. If you need to learn how to talk to a lady, ask your mum. Right on time.
What do you think so far?
That's all you've got?
It's definitely different.
It's definitely different.
I think we have to go back to the first clip, because we're not going to really hear it in the gameplay.
Yeah, because we're fighting.
Yeah, so let's do it again. So, new voice.
Bad boy. Bad boy. But I'm ready to give you everything you want. If you need to learn how to talk to a lady, ask your mum.
So, okay. After that, what do you think from that?
I hear myself. Oh, okay, there you go. I actually like Helena, like the original voice actor.
Yeah.
That sounds much more like Bayonetta, and it just
feels like Bayonetta, because it feels
like her. Yeah, exactly.
Bayonetta, 100%.
So I get that, especially when she said like I am Bayonetta.
Yeah,
like that's my role. Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like at this point, it sucks that happened. Whether it's true or not, we just have to kind of go with the facts and what we have. Hopefully this doesn't happen again, or hopefully this changes things in the future for voice actors.
Yeah. Last thing here. I know you're not the biggest Bayonetta fan, right? So it's kind of hard for me to ask you, but does this stop you from getting the game? were you ever going to get the game in the first place without this happening?
I think not day one. I wasn't gonna get the game, but I would have gotten the game because I played the first two. I did play the first two. So I would have gotten it eventually, but maybe not because it's coming out like now.
Next week.
Next week.
Yeah, it's coming out next
So
week.
it's coming out like now. I wouldn't have time to play it. So yeah, I would have gotten it definitely, but not right now. Now you are a huge Bayonetta fan. This is kind of like in your realm of gameplay. Like you love this like Devil May Cry kind of like hack and slash type of thing.
Yeah, fast paced bullshit.
Were you originally gonna get this game day one without this whole situation?
I want to say I think I was gonna get it day one. I think I was gonna be a day one kind of person with getting it. And when I say day one, I mean like I don't know if I would get it like the day it dropped, right? I know that means day one, but I mean I might have gotten it like a week after it came out, something like that, right? Like pretty close. Just because of time and stuff like that, and to truly enjoy the game.
Sure.
Someone made a really good point about this. It's like, okay, yeah, screw the developer for all this stuff or whatever, but there's also the people that actually worked really hard on the game, like the software engineers and all these other people that did all this other stuff. And it's like, I'm going to dick over them because you didn't get your way. Like, I don't feel as bad now. So will I get the game? Yes.
Okay.
This isn't really stopping me from getting the game, if I'm being honest, because now it's he said, she said. So
right. Yeah, I mean, very good point. Like this also, so Helena wanted us to like boycott the game. That was her like her statement in the Twitter post. And I'm not sure if I really agree with canceling a game because of that situation. I do agree that. I feel like she's trying to take a stance for, and she did say it in the tweet. She's taking a stance for everyone, for voice actors in general, right? Or like this needs to stop. This has to be different and all that stuff. I get that, but canceling a game, I feel like there's better ways to do it. I think what the best way to do it, right, for us to talk about it, for us to like give you guys that information and kind of let you know, hey, this is what's happening in the gaming industry. This is what's happening with Bayonetta 3. Make your decision. Like with all the facts, with all the information that you have right here, if you want to buy the game, go for it. Like more power to you. If you don't want to, it's your decision. So I think that's the best thing to do, and on our end at least, like as a podcast, we share the facts, we share you what's information is going down, and you can decide whether you want to do that or not. And either way, it's fine with us.
Sinarf said. Sicknarf, sorry. Cancel culture. Yes, very much so. You can't really cancel a game, honestly. It's kind of hard. I get it if like every single dev on their team was like, don't get this game, then maybe it'd be like, I probably shouldn't get this game, but no one else has said like anything about it, so I'm probably gonna get the game.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be more information later on. I'm sure Bloomberg, and I'm sure there's going to be more information coming out as the weeks go by and as the game comes out. So we'll definitely, keep you guys updated for that. Let's move on to news number 3 here. Silent Hill is coming out with a new game announcement, and it's incoming soon. I think tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow.
It's Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. So for audio listeners, this is Friday. So announcement already came out, and you're able to know what's happening. But if you're watching us right now, it's tomorrow, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, so let's get into some of the tidbits here. On October 19th, yep, you're right, so that's tomorrow, Konami will be giving us an update on what's the next for Silent Hill website. The Silent Hill site has been updated with a new logo stating this: in your restless dreams, do you see that town? The latest update for the Silent Hill series will be revealed during the Silent Hill transmission on Wednesday, October 19th at 2 p.m. PDT.
Right there.
So, what? I'm hearing myself double for some reason. That's weird.
Oh, it's because this stupid thing. Now you're good, right?
Yeah, I'm good now. So, first off, I'm going to incorporate this with Silent Hill, but also with the fact that we also have information on Capcom releasing Resident Evil 4 showcase, or Resident Evil showcase in general, that will also take place not tomorrow, but Thursday at 3 p.m. So, they're going to give us information on latest updates on trailers and more on both Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil Village. So a lot going on this week. Rob, let's start with Silent Hill. What is your take on this?
Skeptical, always. Just because of what happened to PT when that happened, right? With that whole thing where it was originally Silent Hill and now it's not. I don't know. I want it to be good. Okay. I want it to be good so bad. I'm just going to play a little clip here in the background. You're not hearing yourself twice right now?
No.
Okay. This is PT, the original.
Still looks so good.
It's incredible. This is back when Hideo was on Kojima was on the team. And now, is it going to be in some form like this, or is it going to be third person?
Great question. I was going to ask you the same thing. In a sense of like, where do you think Silent Hill is going to go next, right? Like, how do you see Silent Hill improving from this, right? From what Kojima's vision was. Do you see it going first person the way it is? Do you see it going first person how Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil 8's been going? Do you see it going a completely different take, like completely different way of like, I don't know, like how Resident Evil changed the whole franchise with Resident Evil 4, right? Do you see them upping that in a way where like it's AAA status?
So I definitely don't think it's going to be like any type of like smaller game. I think they're going to do a AAA game because that is a powerful IP. It's a huge fan base. Resident Evil kind of had a comeback when it went first person. It went from third person for Resident Evil 6, and then when Biohazard came out, it went back to first person, and immediately it brought back the scariness again. People were like, this is its franchise again.
Arguably, 5 and 6 were the worst, right? Arguably.
Yeah, I would say 5 and 6 are pretty bad. People like, if 5 for an action game is good, right? But it's not a scary game by any means, I don't think.
It's not Resident Evil at that point.
Right. So, yes, I think this game should be first person. I think being first person is safer because if it's not first person, they're going to constantly compare the third person to the first. It should have been first. Oh, God, that scared the shit out of me.
Christ.
Holy shit. Fuck this game. Anyways.
They need to do something crazy. They need to bring this game back, or this franchise back to the eyes of people. I know people have been really excited for Silent Hill for a very long time. They want this like soon, like now. But they need to do something that really captures the horror of Silent Hill, but also keeping it fresh and kind of updated to 2023, whenever this game is going to come out standards. They need to do something because right now, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but there is a lot of horror games, kind of like we're kind of like in this way, like this timeline of like horror games coming back. Right, I feel like we have Dead Space remake coming out. We have Callisto Protocol coming out soon. Resident Evil is probably arguably in its best state in a long time. Like Silent Hill now with the announcement coming out soon, it needs to do something to kind of differentiate itself from the other horror games, and maybe changing it to like a first person status might be the go to for that, or maybe not. Maybe keeping it as a third person horror game, but like I don't know, changing the camera a little bit, kind of like how Resident Evil 4 really made that the staple in the gaming industry now. I don't know, they need to do something that really changes that and kind of differentiates it as like Silent Hill, and changes it from what everybody else is doing.
Silent Hill is all about atmosphere. Like that is all what Silent Hill ever was, is just constant atmosphere, and that's what creeped people out was that the fact that Resident Evil is more about the monsters, right, and the zombies, the jump scares, and this, where this was just like there is something always watching me, and they need to keep that intact for this to be successful. They need to recapture that feeling in the new generation. Yeah. So I think it should be first person because it's going to scare them, because the graphics are crazy now.
I think first person would be great. I think first person would really keep that, like you said, that ambiance, that like really dreadful feeling of like somebody's always watching you, because you can't really see everything as in first person, right? So they can do well with that. Like this looks great in a third person setting, but if they brought it to like a first person view, I think it can really capture what Silent Hill is supposed to be.
Right. I mean, if you look at this too, this kind of reminds you of like the old Resident Evil games.
Yeah.
Right. As far as like the overhead view camera and stuff like that. So I think it being like behind the shoulder, like Resident Evil 4, I don't think would do it justice. I think first person is the way to go.
So here's my thing. Do you think
this game's dark? Holy shit.
Would you want them to nowadays, right? There's this thing of like, hey, let's bring out a show corresponding with the game. Do you think it would make sense for a Silent Hill show, a Silent Hill movie to come out, kind of like hand in hand with the game?
Not a movie. I think a show would be better, but it would have to be the right type of director. It would have to kind of be like the same people that do like Haunting of Hill House or Haunting of Bly Manor.
Yeah.
That I think it returning in some form like that would be good, but I don't want to, because Resident Evil actually became a show and it sucked. So they'd be really careful with the way they do. There is a Silent Hill movie.
Yes, there is. Yeah, it
It's
was
not that
terrible.
good.
But I'm saying
It's
like
not-
to
yeah.
reinvent the wheel, kind of like start from scratch type of thing.
Kill it with the game first. Be a really great game. Be super scary, and then kind of a Last of Us thing, right? Like the game is amazing, and now they're making a show out of it. Same thing. Just make sure the game's good first, and then do the show. So
Yeah, agreed. Well, I am excited to hear both. So now let's talk about Capcom's Resident Evil Showcase. Do you think, not much to talk about there because they're kind of giving us the information right at hand, right? We're going to be getting more information on Resident Evil 4 remake, right? And we're also going to get more information on the Resident Evil Village DLC. So cool. I mean, I'm excited to see Resident Evil 4 a little bit more, but I mean, are you more excited for Resident Evil 4 or more excited for the DLC for Village?
Resident Evil 4 easy.
Okay.
Resident Evil 4. I mean, again, I've played the game before. It's just going to be updated, but it's going to look so. It's going to look so good. It's going to be like, because I haven't played the game in very long. I'm going to turn this off my monitor. It's literally still playing over there, and I'm like, I'm not watching a scary shit by myself. But no, yeah, I really, I don't remember the last time. I think the last time I played it was on GameCube. So this is going to be fun for me. This is going to be great.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it turns out. I think I would get it. I don't see why not. Depends on when it comes out.
You should get it. March.
That's right. March.
Yeah, get it.
Yeah, I don't see why
Be
not.
stupid if you don't get it.
That's true. Well, that's it.
That's the news.
That's
That's
the
it for
news.
the news. So lots of scary games.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Like we're in this timeline now of like games that are like just coming out with like the horror time for horror. You know what I mean? Speaking of horror, though, or for in-game chat, we're gonna talk about a little bit because of Halloween and all that stuff. We're gonna be talking about the resurgence of horror games coming out, right? So, Rob, question for you for in-game chat: which do you think will come out on top as far as horror games? And to follow up with that question, what has been the scariest game you've ever played?
Okay, so we have Resident Evil 4, we have Dead Space, we have Callisto Protocol. Is that pretty much it? Silent Hills, I think we have the DLC for Resident Evil. I think that's pretty much it. I don't really know if there's a ton of horror. I know there's a new one that just came out. I think it's called it's on Game Pass. I forget the name of it.
Yes.
Scourge, something like that.
Yes. Actually, that's my next game to try out because I heard it's just gross. Scorn.
So I really think Callisto Protocol, because it hasn't been done. We haven't seen anything about it yet. Resident Evil 4, we already know. We've played the game. We know what happens.
Okay.
Dead Space, we played the game. We know what happens. They're both remakes. Callisto Protocol, we have no idea what's happening.
As far as what? In terms of what?
Story, scares. I think that game might be scary. Me personally, this is directed at me personally, but I think that game is probably going to scare me the most, where Dead Space and Resident Evil 4, I kind of know what to expect. Yeah. I know there's a guy with a chainsaw in Resident Evil 4. I know in Dead Space there's necromorphs going to fucking devour me under a vent. I know that's going to happen. Callisto Protocol, I don't know what is out there and how it's going to get me.
Yeah. I kind of agree on that end. I mean,
but you're not really you don't really get scared easy when it comes to horror games.
I don't. I actually, in fact, I enjoy it when I get scared. I'm like, oh shit, like that was
like
cool.
like in PT just now when we saw the little ghost in the little door, we're just like, oh
Yeah.
shit, like that, like that kind of shit, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. I feel like those type of moments I enjoy because the game did what it needed to do at that point, you know.
Yeah, right.
And so that when it does that, and I'm like, oh, like you did it, like good job, like good shit, like that.
You
Actually,
want to shake the developer's hand, like, yeah, you got me.
Kudos. So yeah, to answer that question, I feel like what will come up on top? Like, who do you think will be the top dog in the horror space? And to answer that question, I think, as far as in terms of horror, in terms of scares, it would probably be. We got to think about too. Silent Hill or the next Resident Evil game hasn't been announced yet. The next title, which it might be, you never know. It might be announced in this showcase.
Maybe. Right.
They didn't say they weren't going to show anything new, but you never know. I think Callisto Protocol might be it. Might be the top dog, only because, like you said, we don't know much about it, but it has a lot of Dead Space in it.
Yeah.
You know, to me, Dead Space is the scariest game I've ever played, hands down.
You think
The first one?
You think Dead Space 1 is the scariest game you ever played?
Hands down, dude. I mean, you can argue. No, not even. You can't even argue like Resident Evil back in the day. Like Resident Evil was scary back in the day, but
no, not like that. Dead Space was just a constant like I'm gonna get killed like really easily.
And then we just played Phasmophobia not too long ago with
Tony
KGBG. Yeah, and so that was fun and arguably a very scary game, right? It definitely feels more demonic in a sense of like you're dealing with demons, you're dealing with ghosts, whatever.
Yeah, but that's more of a feeling of just like you're separated from your friends. But the actual
because nothing really happens besides
nothing really bad happens to you. Like you die, but it's not like you got me.
But it's a sense of like dreadfulness of like, oh my god, like something could be here. There's something talking to me. There, like something can happen at any given point, you know.
Right.
So that is kind of what scares me. But I think Dead Space takes it for me because Dead Space, from when it first came out, it's like this sense of like you're by yourself, you're alone in this in space. Nonetheless, you know, it's not like you're alone in the town. It's not like you're alone in the school. You're in space. You're alone. You're literally the only person in this like ecosystem. Right?
Yeah.
And so you just have to survive and get out of here. And so the necromorphs really just feel like they're just these disgusting, like mutated, just like human beings, but they're not. They're just like, they're gross.
Oh, if I had to go against, you put a zombie in front of me, I'm like,
hands down.
That sucks. Like I'm like zombie, okay, but I could juke it. I could like get a knife, stab in the brain, whatever. And I'm like, I could take it if I needed to, right? But I see a fucking necromorph. I'm so
you're not juking that shit.
I'm dead. He's
gonna juke you, dude. He's gonna juke the shit out of you.
He's gonna fucking get me, bro. Like I'm gonna die in a bad way too. I'm gonna die in a really bad way.
Yeah, like coughing out blood and shit.
Yeah,
and just
no, definitely scary factor. Necromorphs take the cake. They are,
and that's why I say Dead Space is my top pick. Like that's why I love Dead Space 2. Dead Space 2, not as scary as the first one, but definitely had its scares, its moments, and so that was also up there for me. But Dead Space 1 takes it hands down. You know, Dead Space 3 we don't talk about.
That's a good pick. Yeah, Dead Space 3 was kind of an action game. But I'm gonna have to agree with you with the exception of there's a couple of other games. There's what is the name of it? Fuck, I'm forgetting the name of it. Not Phasmophobia, but like you're by yourself in a prison and you have a camera. And I wish we had. You know what I'm talking about? Outlast. Yeah, Outlast was scary as fuck.
I forgot about that game. Yeah,
I think I played that in one sitting. I had my roommate in college just watch me play it the entire time, and if he wasn't there while I was playing it, I would have not played it.
Yeah,
that was a scary game.
I forgot about the game. Outlast was very scary, but once you get past
a certain point.
It stopped being scary.
Yeah, it wasn't
right?
as bad. It wasn't as bad. Yeah. And then spoilers, the part in Resident Evil Village with the baby. No,
You keep going with the baby.
that scared the crap out of me.
It was bad.
I was white. I was white playing that freaking. Like literally, like my skin was just like so. I don't know how I got through that part.
There's something about babies' noises that in the dark
it
just gets you, especially if you're
Laughing.
not expecting it.
the laugh. Yeah, like crying's one thing. Like you hear a baby crying, like okay, that's bad, but like that happens, right? But then when they start giggling and laughing, you're like.
And they start coming towards you with a fucking demonic look and shit. Yeah.
No. I'm good, bro. But yeah, that's I would say in recent memory, probably that. Probably Resident Evil baby part. Yeah, that was bad.
Baby part. Yeah. That was really the only scary, like massive part that I'm just like, holy shit, they went all out on this part.
The dolls were pretty bad too, though.
Yeah. The dolls were pretty bad, but that was like a boss fight that was like one of the easier boss fights.
It was. You just had to find them, and then it wasn't bad, but the first half of that game was way scarier than the second half. The second half wasn't really scary. But.
Agreed. How do you think the next Resident Evil game is going to be? Like, I'm just excited to see what Resident Evil 9 is it? How it's going to be?
8. Village is 7, I think. No, 8. No, Village is 8. Village is
8. Yeah.
Is
yeah.
Village
7.
8?
7 was Biohazard.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Resident Evil 9. I really don't know where they're gonna go with it this time. I don't think they're gonna go back to like legit zombies because Resident Evil 4 is kind of taking that right where they have, but they might.
They can't go back to zombies because they did this whole werewolf thing, vampires type of thing, like in 8, and I feel like they have to keep going with that.
I don't think they're going to keep going
similar.
with it. I think they'll change it up. I think they're going to change it up into something else, a different type of scary lore that we don't know about. You know, it'd be really cool. Like a gothic theme.
Yes.
Like
yes.
Bloodborne,
theme,
where
yes.
like we have grotesque monsters.
Yes.
That would be cool.
Now you're talking. Now you're speaking my language, dude. I would be 100% down with that, and that would scare the shit out of me because those fucking demonic looking things in Bloodborne, fucking that could have been a run up from Dead Space because Bloodborne is kind of scary in itself. Let's be honest.
The enemy design. It's not that the game is scary. It's the enemy design is so insane that when you see some of the boss fights, you're like, I would hate to fight this thing. Yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck? It's like oozing skulls, but they have arms and like it can throw lightning bolts at. Yeah.
You have to be twisted to make some shit like that.
Right. So give me some of that shit. I'm all right with that.
I'm down for that. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. This has been the Gaming Duo Podcast, episode 93. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, you guys can follow us on social media. Follow us on YouTube and obviously on the what's it called? The
YouTube.
Yeah,
social
the
media.
YouTubes and all the
all the good stuff.
All the good stuff. I'm tired. It's been a long day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any last words, Rob? Before you die. Just kidding.
Oh my God, Jax, you kind of scared me. Good job. You got me again. No, I'm excited to this next. I kind of want
Chucky
October
comes out of nowhere. I'm sorry.
You're like, bro,
No, come back.
Yeah. Oh, check out my episode I did with Press Aniki. We talk about Press Aniki podcast. We talk about Halloween Ends, the movie, so a little a little bit of like spooky Halloween. We talk about a bunch of stuff, but yeah, check that out. Guest on there. Shout out to those guys are awesome.
Dope.
And that's all I got. So
cool. All right, guys, well, thank you guys for tuning in, and until next time, catch you later.
Have a good day. Bye